All right. So we are in business, everyone. Good evening. This is the first hybrid meeting of the new Environment and Sanitation Committee of the Community Board 8. We thank very, very much Laura and the staff for lining up all our high-tech situation over here. And so incredibly easy for us to be online.
How clean the room.
Amazingly clean.
It smells cleaning.
However, let me just say, let's remember that while we are having kind of fun here and we feel like very cozy and, because we are in the room together in face to face, there are people watching us. So I think we have to maintain a certain degree of sort of formality. But again, I want everybody to enjoy their time and just do their best contributions. And we are absolutely positive that everybody will be patient with us. We keep on meeting people. Again, as this is the first sort of hybrid Zoom, we are still figuring out the whole situation, but so far, so good. So without further ado, I would like to first give a chance to every one of my members to sort of introduce themselves for the members that are of the public that are with us, just very quickly, please. And then I'll go through sort of the rules of the proceedings, and then we move forward with the agenda. First and foremost, I would like to call on Robert Fanuzzi, who unfortunately is not able to be with us. But Robert, if you will be so kind and just say a couple of words about yourself and your history with the committee and everything.
You have to unmute.
Camilla, this is a really nice opportunity, and thank you for saying this. So I'm very happy that you've taken the reins. This is definitely a committee that changes with leadership and community needs. I had 2 tours as chair, and we did little things like putting rulers in the sewers to figure out how much flood water we're getting, to fighting Jerome Park battles. So I think the committee has found new use, not only within its core function, but across other committees, just because development brings such environmental implications all the time that finally the general public in the city is aware of. So this committee plays a central role in advising other committees about impacts and working with other committees to build integrated systems that are resilient, that serve environmental goals. For instance, greenways and bikeways. So we are really the fulcrum, and the more that we know and really abide by our environmental goals at the city and the state, the more useful we'll be to the public and to the community board. So, committee, I'm so happy you're doing this. You were on the committee representing work from Marble Hill, which was so exciting. One of our EJ areas. So thank you for taking over, and I'm happy to be a member now and support you.
Thank you so much, Robert, and we look forward to seeing you in person next month. I will pass it now to Deborah, if you can.
I'm Deb Travis. I've been on the community board for 3 years, and I am the original founder of Jerome Park Fence Neighbors, which is a group that takes care of the planting beds around Jerome Park Reservoir. Which is how I started coming to ENS to complain about the trash 5 years ago.
Great, thanks, Ed. Rashida, you are a new board member. So, and thank you so much for joining ENS. We are absolutely delighted to have you here. If you just want to say a couple of words.
Well, I'm Rashida Hilliard, and I just became a member of the Community Board 8. And interestingly, you said Debbie, right? Deb?
Yep.
I want to make sure I say Deb.
Deb, yeah.
I've seen you around Jerome.
They're really great.
That's actually why I joined the board of this particular committee, because I'm one of the people who've been complaining about the reservoir. While I do a lot of picking up at Grand Portland Park, I do see a lot of trash out there. It's kind of too heavy for a person to pick up, and I keep contacting like 311, or I've even spoken to sanitation in it seems like it's an ongoing process of getting that area clean.
Great, thank you so much. And we also have two community members. They are appointed. They are not community board members, but they are community members that have both of them quite a history in supporting ENS. This is the understatement of the meeting. They have very, very significant depth of knowledge on this issue. So I'm inviting first Karen Argenti to present herself.
Hi, everybody, I'm Karen Argenti. I guess I've been a community member for a couple of years, and I was a member of the board of the committee many years ago, like in the 1990s when we first started talking about daylighting of Tibbetsbrook. And I'm a big fighter of federal workers.
Great, and Rob?
Okay, my name is Rob Spalter, and I have actually been on this committee as a community member for about 30 or more years. So,
Why isn't everything fixed then?
yeah, because the community board is advisory, okay? It's advisory.
Thank you, all of you. Let me just, so with this, we also want to acknowledge we're having another person in person with us. You want to say a quick hello just because you are here with us and I don't want to feel rude?
Oh, it's okay. Hi, my name is Minchan Gu. I'm a student journalist at Columbia Journalism School, and I cover the Bronx 8 area, and so I just want to get more involved in the community. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. And we have a group of people on Zoom, so we will pay attention when they raise their hands, and we will do our best to allow them space to speak. Speaking of space to speak, let me kind of very quickly review the situation here. We will always be very mindful of the time of the meetings. We aim to be out of this location by 9, but I'm fairly certain that we will always be successful in that. Time as far as speaking will be always prioritized for the actual committee members. Then we will give the opportunity of board members to speak if any other board members are with us. Then we will move to people from the public that pre-registered, and then we will move to sort of the general public, but these rules are not absolutely kind of set in stones. We also will see kind of how the conversation goes, and we will try our best to be sort of fair and balanced. I do encourage any member of the public that is on and would like to address a particular topic to pre-register in advance of the meeting so that we are able, if there is a specific topic, to basically put it on the agenda in advance, such as like for next month or for us to be able to plan. As far as how long one can speak, I will do my best to keep everybody kind of within 3 minutes if possible. Kind of city council rules, but again, depending on kind of the topic, and if we have a speaker, the speaker will speak, the featured speaker sort of say, will be given a decent amount of time, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, but overall, I would really appreciate if everybody would kind of go to the point and keep it within sort of 2 to 3 minutes range, public included. I might be cutting even shorter on the public if we end up having like a lot of people, but so far it seems looking reasonable. This is what I wanted to say as far as organization, and without further ado, I will go further to my second point of formal agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from June 22, reminding you it was a joint Environment and Sanitation Committee and Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. The minutes were circulated by the office on July 12. And I guess right now we are basically approving our part, which is one of the 2 committees mentioned, our part of the minutes. And I'm inviting if anybody has an objection or against, please raise your hand or speak up.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
There we go.
I'll second.
Karen,
But I only want to approve the part that's for the ENS committee.
you are correct.
When it starts with costs, I wasn't there for that.
Okay, well, okay, so the motion is, no, I heard no objection, no abstention, so we deem the minutes to be approved unanimously by the committee members. I will move quickly to the chairperson's report, and I just want to acknowledge quickly our guest speaker, which will be the next point, on the agenda, which is FER design from DEP. FER will keep my chair report quite short because actually almost all of it is about you. But let me go quickly through, not all of it, but a significant part, the part that actually we thank you for. So this chair report is basically an overview of all the issues that were forwarded to me from the office pertaining to CB8. And in a chronological order, I tried my best to list them chronologically. So we had a report from DEP that there was a water shutdown required by a repair affecting Mosholo Avenue between 254 and 256. This was on July 28th. And DEP made repairs to the leaking pipe near the 254th Street pump station. This was resolved. There was also sewage leak report that was also resolved. Then we had on July 28th a report from a resident, Francoise Gonzalez. She sent both pictures and descriptions of significant garbage accumulation around the Jerome Park Reservoir, Reservoir Avenue, Webb Avenue, Claflin Avenue, University Avenue, West 197th Street, and also along Golden from Bedford Park to 205 Street and beyond. Furthermore, topic number 4, Community Board 8 received a letter regarding questions on the sewer system capacity from the residents of Fairfield Avenue Association at 231st Street and Fairfield Avenue. They are basically calling for an evaluation of the size and capacity of existing pipes, signaling the severe floodings affecting their residences. On August 4, DEP distributed to all Bronx district managers the 311 statistics for each community board. In CB8, the most significant, the highest report was on something called hydrant running full at 107 complaints. And just to give you a little bit of range, so this was the highest complaint, followed by 88 fire hydrant emergency, then 30 noise ice cream truck. So after ice cream truck, I will not complain anymore. But just to give you kind of a range, 107, hydrant running full, 88, fire hydrant emergency, and then the rest. On September 1st, the mayor's office released a press release on the new program called Rainfall Ready NYC. It encourages citizens, New Yorkers, to use a new interactive stormwater flood map to understand the likelihood of flooding on one's block and to make a plan to get on higher ground. It also includes an interesting reference to expanding something called FloodNet, a network of street flooding sensors designed to better understand the frequency, severity, and impacts of flooding. But importantly, it also mentioned the basic fact of New Yorkers being encouraged to clear litter and debris from the curb line and nearby catch basins and deploy barriers to protect low-lying areas. I'm almost there, be patient with me. And the most exciting for me news of the summer was, however, the one coming from the DEP Tibet's Brook Daylighting Project and DPR Putnam Greenway Extension, which concerned the news that the CSX property will be acquired by the city at the cost of $11.2 million, and there is a forthcoming November 9 hearing on this acquiring of property by the city to facilitate the DEP Tibet's Brook Daylighting Project and DPR Putnam Greenway Extension. Of course, this is like a very sort of changing, it's a step that changes the pace in which we are on this project, so it's super encouraging. And then also there was a notification from the Tibet Advisory Group, which is a community advisory group set up by DEP to help guide discussions and planning for the daylighting project. They recapped that they presented the project to the Public Design Committee on July 11. I will include in the minutes the YouTube link where those that did not see this would like to see it. As it was pointed out already in the several already community board meetings, some of the issues that were raised by this committee last year were also raised by the design commission, but I find that the YouTube discussion is very informative if anybody's interested. They also interestingly announced that they will expand the project team to include the landscape consultant Star Whitehouse. And they presented the project to Councilmember Dinowitz on August 15. And the plan for this fall is to have another meeting of this advisory group called TAG, Tibet's advisory group, including a video tour of the CXX corridor, because I guess now they have easier access to it. So they are able to actually do a video. So I don't have to go and park in weird places and take pictures through the gates anymore. So we will have like an official video tour. In spring 2023, there will be a fourth meeting and a site visit. And in late spring 2023, another preliminary public design committee submission. So there is a little plan going on. One thing that was not said, but it's in the, of course, in the page 1 of the Riverdale Press today, and it came up in the community board land use and full meeting, is of course the new development happening at 160 Van Corner Park South, the major construction foreseen that includes public school as well as a significant residential development, and all of a sudden that will hugely increase the density on that block and possible impacts on this future park. Finally, from sanitation, residential curbside composting is back. We had the rep speaking at the full community board 8 meeting, and also on commercial organics, the separation and collection rules are now in effect. There was a break in enforcement due to COVID, but now the rules are back in effect because the grace period expired July 31st. The office was super nice, and when I sent them the sort of the posters that for businesses, they posted them on our social media and everything. And this sort of completes what I wanted to report on. If any of the committee members would like to make very quick, brief remarks, please do, or additions or anything I might have forgotten. But if not, okay, then.
I think with the, also regarding the 169 Portland Park South property, the build, one of the concerns is that also that just the groundwater is very high. So there's the additional capacity going into the sewer, and that there's going to be a problem with just like actually getting to the solid foundation and not having flooding in the basement.
So maybe the land use committee appointed me and Robert to meet with the developer, and we did maybe later on.
Yeah, maybe we can reach out to.
Because we can explain to you what we explained to them.
Excellent. Yes, oh, sorry, let me also point out, today the board announced a hearing that unfortunately will not be hybrid, so no Zoom, but in person, on the topic of this project, on development of the project. It will be, Laura, please correct me, at the golf course right now on September 29th.
That's still on the school.
Yes,
Oh, that's only about the school.
it's only about the school.
Got it, okay. I was hopeful here, but I understand.
No, the building will come back several times in the future.
That's good to hear your.
Yeah, they definitely will. I've spoken to Chuck, and they will come back, but this is actually response to the neg deck issued by the school construction authority. So that, of course, they're like symbiotic, and all that, but technically it's the school.
Got it, okay.
There seems to be a delay, right? You see it, a delay?
Yeah, I see the delay.
Okay, I just want to
No,
know.
mostly with delay with just Laura though, it looked like.
Yeah,
No, maybe it's Laura's computer. Okay, good. So thank you all. Let me just move to our patient special first guest speaker of the year in environment and sanitation. Effie, thank you so very much for taking a little bit of time of your evening with your family and being with us. I just wanted to sort of reach out to you, given how much input and how much help and information you sent to. You are, of course, sort of our main partner in conversation on the issues that affect the environment and sanitation of CB8. So I also must disclose that we worked together in another area of the Bronx, but here we are at CB8. So we just wanted to invite you and give a little bit of feedback on the things that you heard, if there are any updates on the things that affected CB8 over the summer, and then anything else that you feel like you would like to add that is useful for this committee to know and to pursue sort of working with you on. So Effie, you have the mic.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me tonight. It's been a very busy summer. Those are just some snippets of the emails back and forth with Community Board 8, one of my favorite boards. Definitely, it's been a busy summer though. Just an FYI, I know you mentioned the running hydrant complaints. Just realize your board, if you look at the email I send it for each community board, the most complaints received through 311. Running hydrants this summer was a big issue in the Bronx. Community Board 8 is definitely at the bottom of the list concerning the number of complaints. The history has always been with community boards 4 and 5, where they tend to have a lot more excessive numbers of complaints, and Manhattan Community Board 12. Those are the most problematic with running hydrants. What is running hydrants? It's when someone, illegally opens up a hydrant. We used to have a heat program, hydrant education action teams. We used to partner with DYCD and Sobro in the South Bronx. And we used to have teenagers go out and speak to their peers about what the issues are if you open up a hydrant. So there's a couple of things involved. A child can get hurt by, the amount of water gushing out of a hydrant. Also, there's an issue, when there's a fire and the firemen come, you usually get low water pressure in buildings, okay? Sometimes you get low water pressure in neighborhoods when there's like extreme issues with running hydrants. We have our teams that go out during the very hot days in the evening hours and all night. All they do is shut hydrants, okay? So it's very important to call these running hydrants in. We will come out, we will shut them off. The fire department also closes them. We do encourage spray cap use. So you can go to your local firehouse and request a spray cap to be installed at a specific hydrant. Not every hydrant qualifies for a spray cap. The reason is we would not put a spray cap, or the fire department would not put a spray cap where there's two-way traffic or a bus route or at a corner where a child can get hurt, okay? So if you ever need a spray cap, you can always go to your local firehouse. And we obviously always do recommend people use the pools like at Roberto Clemente State Park, at St. Mary's Park, the sprinklers at the playgrounds, things like that. We try to discourage hydrant use. So just an FYI on that. Community Board 8, I know it seems like a lot of complaints. This summer was excessively hot and dry, other than those intense storms that we would get. So the hydrant use was a big issue for me in the Bronx. I had a lot of complaints. I didn't really set anything up. I just had some things that I want to go over, and I'm not sure, Camelia, if you could possibly pull up this the quickie presentation I have set up. If you don't mind, I'm so sorry. I'm so bad with this stuff.
It's really PowerPoint. I think it's open in the back, so maybe we can share screen and run it.
Yeah,
from our
maybe.
end. The PDF,
That's
the
not
PDF,
my screen.
there. That's one.
Also, Laura has a question.
Also, Laura.
Well, I can wait till the end.
Okay.
Okay,
I wasn't
thank you,
sure if it
Laura.
was about hydrants.
Can you put it, if possible, in slideshow mode, from the menu to the middle, to the middle? All the way up the middle, say slideshow. No, you see it up, do you see the red band?
I'm just like getting rid of the people for raising their hand. Letting
Okay.
that go.
There, to the left a little bit, slideshow. No,
Slideshow.
there, it's there.
I think I know something from that. And from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very short little PowerPoint, just a couple of things I threw in together. I know your board had expressed interest in the WAIT program, okay? So this is a program, it's a voluntary text messaging program. And what does it do? It notifies participants when to use less water during a heavy rainstorm. And the reason for that is you help protect our waterways, okay? So whenever we do laundry, we shower, we wash, you could always go to the next. This is the app, by the way, that you can go into. So you download, it's a free app, and it's called Wait. You can go to the next slide, which is the same part of this program. Yeah, so why wait, right? So whenever we do laundry, we're showering, we're washing dishes or flushing the toilet, where does the water go? It goes down the drain into the city sewers. When there's a heavy rainstorm, that wastewater has to share the sewer with a lot of rainwater. And on those days, our sewers can fill up to capacity, and you get a mix of wastewater and rainwater that can end up in our waterways. So by waiting to use water, like flushing your toilet or doing a load of laundry, when there's heavy rain, you're helping keep our waterways clean. And that is basically the program. It is an app. You can sign up for it. We'll send you a free text so you know when to wait. And we'll send you another text when it's clear and you can do the laundry and so forth. It's a completely voluntary program. You will receive alerts when we get those nasty downpours. You can opt in and opt out at any moment, but I know your board had expressed some interest in it. So we have all the information on our website, whatever you need, but I just wanted to bring it up to you. So that's one. And the next one is, oh, you got off the slides? Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Go ahead.
Is there another?
Maybe with a scroll or, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bill, this is the biggie that I wanted to touch up on. Rainfall Ready, NYC. I sent the press release to the community board, but Rainfall Ready NYC is part of this administration's, it's a mayoral initiative. So New York City sewer system was generally well designed for the kind of regular storms we experienced over the last century. But there's simply more and more of these intense storms that drop a lot of water faster than our sewers can handle. So what happens? The sewers get overtaxed. And when the sewers cannot handle the water entering them, this pushes the storm water into homes and buildings. This is common in New York City because we have combined sewers in most of New York City. And this always handles the sanitary flow from your toilets, the sinks, the tubs, the washing appliances, and stormwater as well. So DP, along with other agencies, we're developing a comprehensive long-term approach for how to protect New Yorkers with these new level of storm intensities that we've been experiencing. And there's many steps that property owners can take to protect their homes. So this is the homeowner's guide to rain event preparedness, okay? If you go to the next one, that's where the main information is. I'm not sure if you could see it that well, but so installing check valves is an option. Installing a backwater valve can help protect a basement in a building or a house. These are some options. We updated this brochure. We've had this for a couple of years, but we updated it. Other things you can do to reduce stormwater runoff is, instead of having cement or concrete, putting grass, putting green. Another thing that we normally do this year, we didn't do it with this community board, but is give out rain barrels. So you would disconnect your roof drains and, install the rain barrel to collect the water, the storm water from the gutters. And you would use that to wash your car, water your plants in your garden, etc. It's part of water conservation, and you also save money on your water bill. Help keeping catch basin grates clean. I'm just jumping around in this presentation. A lot of properties have their own drains on their property and they don't realize that. Sometimes they call DP asking us to clean them. We would not service a drain on your property. You are responsible for it as the property owner. And it's really important. Some folks never clean them. It's important to have that cleaned by a plumber, et cetera, and remove any debris that's accumulated in there. Keeping grease out of the sewers, that's another biggie. For years, we've had the initiative of not dumping grease down the drain. Discard of it in a jar or litter, put it out with your garbage. So these are some things that we've been promoting that I wanted to touch base on. This program with Rainfall Ready, I'm not sure if your board has heard from certain homeowners that got a letter from us about a month or so ago telling them to come and pick up rain barriers and sandbags. So we're doing a pilot program. And this is for homeowners and properties that were most affected during these intense storms. And they were selected, they were notified to come and pick up rain barriers. And we had one Saturday where we dedicated the entire day for the Bronx. And we had about 180 or so property owners that were notified to come and pick up these rain barriers. We even had our commissioner actually come and distribute some in the Kingsbridge area, and that made the news also. So like I said, that part of it, the rain barrier distribution is a pilot program, and we're doing it citywide. We're going to see how it works and how we want to proceed in the future with it. So these are just some snippets of information that we've been working on this summer. Yeah, I'm sure you all have questions, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Effie. Thank you for sharing all these and the visuals, and we'll make sure that the office has them, and in case people are interested, they could send over the PDFs and all that. And let me go first to the room here in person to my committee board members. And then I see Robert's hand, and then I see Laura and Joy right now. So if anybody in the room there, you have a question.
Just regarding Rainfall Ready, a lot of homeowners, I mean, there's some homeowners who certainly would want to protect their own basements, but often, a lot of homeowners often cover their entire lot with concrete or blacktop. And so particularly the top of the hill, and that it seems to undermine some of the goals of this program. Are there any incentives or anything you're doing to try to encourage people to have more lawn or green space on their property and less of this impermeable surface?
So we do have our green infrastructure grant program, and we do encourage everybody to go on our site. We do have the information. We also do a lot of workshops. We do encourage property owners to do more green instead of more gray. So yeah, I mean, I can get you more specific information on that.
When you say you're doing this, what are you doing exactly? What's the outreach? What's the form of the outreach?
We do outreach. We send out information, and when we do the grant workshops, I'm always sending them out to the community boards to distribute to all the, homeowners associations, civic associations, whenever they're scheduled. As soon as they're scheduled, I always notify everybody. If there's any interest, they can also see in prior years who applied and, if they were given a grant, what it was for, so they have some ideas. We do have workshops where you can actually attend and discuss, your property and details like that.
Any other questions? Can I move to online people?
Yeah.
Good, thank you. Bob Fanuzzi, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Effie, it's good to see you by remote. so I hope you're well.
Thank you.
This is the anniversary of Ida,
Mhm.
and so much depends upon the social media postings of flooding and the citizen reporting of flooding, especially now that DEP is creating modeling based on reports from 311. Could you please just reiterate to us and remind us just how important it is for, and what is the best way for citizens of a district to report flooding and sewer overflow? We had a meeting on this, but it's just so essential that we have robust data to get the document the need, because we are in a flood corridor here. Thank you, Effie, for reiterating.
Of course. I mean, we've had a lot of these intense storms, and we are getting a lot more complaints from people and residents, property owners that we normally never did before. So we do encourage everyone to call 311 whenever you have an issue, whatever your issue is, whether it's with DP or DOT or anything like that. If you have sewage coming through your toilets and your basement, and you need to call that in as a sewer backup. When you call 311, they will have an operator there who will ask you some questions, and they usually do it by the keywords that they receive. So depending on how you term what your complaint is, they will route it to the agency. But if you have sewage or things like that that are coming through your toilet, through your bathtub, that's called a sewer backup. If there's water coming from the street onto your property, that's like street flooding. The street is all flooded. You have water coming into your basement. That's not sewage, it's rainwater. That's basement flooding. The catch basins, if you have a catch basin, and I think Amelia, you touched upon that. If you have a catch basin in front of your property, whether you're commercial or residential, we do encourage property owners through social media. We always send it out. We do encourage property owners to clear the debris off the top of the basins, because that will allow the water to flow in. If you notice that the catch basin is clogged and normally doesn't drain the water, okay, that's a clogged catch basin. But during an intense storm like I discussed before, it's like you fill up your bathtub with water, you pull the plug, it's going to take a while for it to funnel down. It doesn't mean that it's not functioning, okay? So during intense storms, yes, everything's going to be flooded, but eventually the water should be draining. So these are just some things. Always, we encourage everyone to call 311. We work along with OEM, getting out notifications, flash floods and things like that. I always try to send them out to the community boards when we get them as well from OEM. We do work with other agencies. So we do work with DSNY, with sanitation, inspecting locations that chronically flood, like the Mashalou Parkway, and other parkways, other streets, and clearing debris from the catch basins right before the storms hit. DSNY, I believe now, has instituted their full street sweeping. So that helps because that takes litter off the streets. I believe during COVID, they had stopped that. So, and ASP regs were not in effect either. So that there was more accumulation of debris on the street. So when you do have the street sweeping from sanitation, that also helps us, and things like that. So yeah, I hope that answered that helped out, Bob. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Effie. Just for you to know how long your answers will be. So I have 3 people in line right now.
Okay.
So Laura will speak, then Jody, then Noel, Manu. Laura, please ask.
Thank you. I have a quick question. It's about the fire hydrants. We get inquiries from park groups, and it was a terrible drought this summer, and they request to use the hydrants to help them water the plants. How do they access the hydrants? Can they access the hydrants?
Yes.
I wasn't sure, is it DEP, is it the fire
Yes.
department? And is
It's-
there a program that allows them to legally, you know, they don't need a spray cap, they're not gonna use it like crazy, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's DEP. Anytime you think of hydrants, it's DEP,
Mhm.
not the fire department. It's us. We maintain them, they break, we fix them, we put locks on them, we put custodian locks on them. People know how to take them off. That's the problem. They worked for a couple of summers and then people got wind of how to drill through them and take them off, pop them off with magnets. So that's why they get opened. But yes, community gardens and even contractors, that are doing work, construction activity, sometimes need to use the hydrant. You are allowed to use the hydrant for a minimum.
froze.
You're frozen. Oh, no, you're back.
Okay. For a nominal fee, you apply. You used to be able to go to our borough office at 1932 Arthur Ave and put the request in, whether you're a community group, if you need it for a day, you give them the time frame, how long you need it. And yes, we have community gardens throughout the city that actually apply for this and get it. So if there's any issue, always have them reach out to me. But you can also go online. I'll get you the link for the permit and I'll send it to you, and you can send it to all your community garden folks and they can do
Yeah, and
that.
also parks like friends groups from the city parks,
Yeah.
those groups. So
They're allowed
look
to.
for
we
your
give them
application
they would-
online.
Yes, and they would need to put a backflow preventer. We would tell them what they need to do. They have
Okay.
to have their own hose, a backflow preventer, so there's no issue.
Right,
There are
right,
certain hydrants that they can hook up to, not other hydrants.
right.
The reason is if it's a very big water main, we don't want to have any issues if the hydrant has any problem and gets tampered with. And then you end up having like a water main break or something like that.
God
So
forbid.
there's going to be specific hydrants that they can hook up to, but you can always formally make the request in writing. You put in for the permit and you say your location and we will get back to you and let you know. You pay a minimal fee and you take it from there. But I'll send you the link for that.
That would be great.
So,
Thanks so much, Effie.
I'm moving to Jody and then Noel.
Okay, hey Effie, good to see you.
Good to
I just
see
want
you.
to, I want to pick up on the permit thing. I'm in a parks group, we don't have funding, and the fee is $55 a month plus $13.87 per day that you want the hydrant open. And I did work with community gardens for over 20 years, and Green Thumb gives them a waiver letter. So Parks Department isn't ready to provide that to stewardship groups that care for public parks.
Right.
But is that something that you could give us permission to? I mean, Deb is with one of those stewardship groups. I am the Stewards of Ewan Park. I mean, we're hauling water in 1 gallon bottles, like a quarter of a mile from one end of the park to the other. So how do we get that fee waived since we're caring for public property?
I will make the request for you. So just send me an email. I will make the request. I don't make promises, you know that.
No,
But I will make the request. Why wouldn't I? I can always ask the bureau if they would accept, and waiver a grant,
Great. And then I don't want to use up all my time, so I'm going to go quick. Thank you for the explanation of the heavy storms.
Yeah.
Because I'm noticing that the CSO weir kicks open. I hear it in the shorefront in the Spuyten Duyvil station. It's been kicking open a lot more frequently than it used to. So that did make sense to me. And the catch basins, I had reported clogged catch basins, and that is the issue. It's slow draining. So that made sense to me too. And then I just wanted to say that finally, after 25 years of asking, Council Member Dinowitz, who needed to grow up from 9 years old, being a volunteer with me in the 90s to being the council member, has allocated $3.5 million to fix the retaining wall of the pond under the bridge so it stops overflowing into the sewer system. So hopefully getting that out of the system will free up a little more capacity. So I know they're like, why did it take so
Fantastic
long?
news.
I said he had
News.
to grow up and be able to allocate money. But thank you, because you touched on a couple of the other things that I had questions about. So I'm done. Was I within my time limit, Camelia?
You are amazing, Jody, as always, but I need to clarify just So this is the retaining wall of where?
Spite and Dival Shorefront Park is the one that is in the, part of it is in the oval of Edsel Avenue at the Metro North Station.
And the,
So there's a stream that gets fed from the stormwater that goes into the ponds, but then the pond overflows into the parking lot because all the boulders that acted like a retaining wall have now sunken down into the silt, and it just is getting worse over time.
Great.
And then it crosses the parking lot, ices up in the winter, goes into the storm drain, and adds to the CSO overflows.
excellent. Thank you so much, Jody, for giving us the good news.
If
Thank you.
if I may, I believe that has been a budget item from the Parks Committee.
For 20-something
Yes,
years.
right.
Yes, it was number
Well,
20.
it's about time. Very good. Hope springs eternal. Yes, that has been a request.
So
Okay.
Assistance to all the younger people.
Everybody's hard work. Good. I'm moving to Noel. Noel, thank you so much for joining us, and please proceed to ask your question.
Okay, hi everyone. Nice to meet you. It's my first day here. I'm a resident of Kingsbridge. Effie, I had a question about the barrels. Are they free? And then my second question regards the grants. How much grants are awarded and how many people typically get these grants? You mentioned that they go to homeowners associations. Do they just go to homeowners associations or individuals as well? It wasn't too clear.
It's individuals. I don't know if I said associations. If you did, no. It's individuals. You can apply for it. Why don't I send the community board some more information on that from our website? Tons of info on the website on this green infrastructure grant program. I'll send it and they'll share it with you. And the first question was about, sorry.
The barrels, the rain barrels, and if they were free.
Yeah. So this whole summer, we've been giving out rain barrels. Now, rain barrels, we've been distributing them for many years, definitely 6, 7 or so years, in the communities throughout the Bronx, throughout the whole city of New York. We did not do them these past 2 years because of COVID. So we started up a little later this summer. We're finishing up with the program. Like this weekend is the last of the program. We do give them out for free. They're about 55-gallon drums. And like I stated before, you would disconnect your roof drains and just empty it into the rain barrel. They're definitely, like, I think over $100 at Home Depot. They come with the kit, which is the most expensive part. And it's, like I said, it's to capture the stormwater runoff, and you can use that. It's not really potable water, but you can use it for your garden or washing a car, etc. You save money on your water bill. But definitely come spring, we'll, if this community board is interested, and its electeds, we'll definitely do another one, in this area. But we do them throughout the whole city. If anybody expresses interest, we try to accommodate them. And they're meant to be used spring to about now fall. You know what I mean? You don't really use them in the winter times. You disconnect them or make sure they're drained. You don't want the water freezing in them or breaking them or anything like that.
Great. Effie, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. People with hands up, please drop them down. But I will ask everybody if there's any last minute sort of final question to Effie, just raise it now. Okay, Jody has one more. Jody, okay, I'll give it to you.
Thank you. Effie, you mentioned about private drains. Where do those connect to? And there are drains in public parks as well, like Henry Hudson Park. Where do those connect to?
So eventually they probably all connect to the city sewer, right? But while they're on your property, you're responsible for them. So some of them may be like a catch basin, right? So the piping comes out and connects to either the sanitary line of whatever this establishment or house is, right? And then out into the street. Or some of them may just be French drains or seepage basins, Okay, so just the water just drains naturally into the earth. So there's different varieties, and sometimes if you're experiencing flooding or ponding of water on your property, you know, we do recommend you get like a sort of a licensed contractor, a licensed plumber, somebody who can make some suggestion of how to get rid of that water. So I know a lot of people do French drains or seepage basins, we call them, where it looks like a catch basin, but there's no plumbing to it. You know what I mean? It just naturally goes down into.
Right, well, right?
But you have to service them, you know, clean them out. Like I said, some of them may have piping that connects to your sanitary line, right? And then goes out into the street. Remember, every property has two service lines that come out and connect to the city's mains. We have two, you have two. We have the sanitary that, you know, takes it out from your property and connects to the city sewer. And then you have the drinking water that brings you fresh, clean drinking water into your property. Those are two separate pipes. You're responsible as a property owner for your pipes, for your service lines. A lot of times people tell me, oh, it's out on the street. Yes, it comes out from your property and connects to the city's mains that run in the middle of the street. An indicator is the manhole covers. By the way, not all manhole covers are DEPs. Most of them are DEPs. Some of them are other utilities like electrical, Verizon, ComEd, everybody's got manholes, but most of them tend to be DEPs. So your service line comes out and connects to the middle of the street where those manhole covers are. That entire stretch is your responsibility. When that breaks, they can get very costly. We do recommend the AWR program, which is the American Water Resources. It's a service line protection program. And you pay a fee to have your sanitary and your water covered, because those, when they go, can be very expensive. So just like we have water main breaks, especially during the winter months when it's extreme cold, you also have service line breaks. And a lot of times we would just give the property owner a 3-day notice and say, here you go, fix your service line. And these property owners would be like, you know, but, you know, it's very costly. They would get some estimates from plumbers and it would be in the thousands. I'm talking, your sewers are deeper than your water, so they have to dig more and they're more expensive, 10, 15,000. So homeowners and property owners would be like, what is DPE doing to help me? So we partnered with a national company, American Water Resources. They use local licensed plumbers. So if you were to call them and you have their coverage, you know, they would help if you have a broken service line. There's certain things they cover, certain things they do not. So it's your responsibility. Make sure you look at the fine print on what is covered and what is not. Okay, a sewer backup in your house is not covered.
Does that apply for the drains in public parks as well? That the Parks Department is responsible for the service line?
Parks is responsible for their drains on their property. Everybody is responsible for the drains on their property.
Great, thank you.
Right. The Effie, just your final patience. Yeah, for one question from them.
One last question. Would not be an Environment and Sanitation Committee, Community Board Aid, if we did not ask you for an update on Jerome Park Reservoir construction?
I'm not prepared for that. I'm not prepared for that, but I have to say, whenever I have an update, I give it to the board. As soon as any, you know, if the board has any specific questions or they are requesting a status, they can reach out to me and I will provide one for them. But whenever something, you know, is happening or some additional repairs and stuff, I always reach out to the board and give them an update. Right now, I don't have an update right now.
And just one more question from Karen, Effie, and Promise.
So I think I have received complaints. I know that they called them into 311. That there is no water in the North Basin, which was a promise. And that not only that, but it's filled with weeds at a very high rate. And it seems like nobody's really like paying any attention to it. So maybe
email me.
I didn't, but I can get you the pictures of what it looks like tomorrow. They were supposed to send them to me. They called it into 311, so I don't know what they did.
But why would you call that into 311? I'm not even sure. How would 311 take a complaint about the reservoir draining and stuff? Please, whenever you have an issue like that, send it to me. And if you're not sure if to call 311 or not, just send it to me and I will always advise you and let you know. Please send me an email, Laura, from the community board about whatever the request is, and I'll follow up on it.
Effie, thank you so much for being so available. As you can tell, sometimes it's just confusing for people to whom to say what, sort of say. So we just appreciate you being so open and willing to receive emails. Yeah, of this, absolutely. And I don't know if there is something that you feel it will come up to be important on your end, and to reach out to us, please do at any time. And right now we are thinking in October to invite the counterparts from sanitation, but if anything comes up on your side, the door is open here, so you can always participate. And I guess as questions will sort of accumulate then on our end, we will also reach back to you and have you back with us. So, but once again, thank you so much. You are very generous with your time. Yeah, bet. Oh my, Robert. Oh no,
I'm saying goodbye. No, I'm saying goodbye.
Okay.
Effie's our friend.
Thank you so much, Effie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Abby.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so that was our special guest, and we are moving into our final part of the meeting agenda. Old business. I have a little bit of an old business, which is not so old, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention. And we included in the, as you know, the Community Board 8 has a special committee on racial equity. It I think in June, end of June, we issued the 2022, I guess, edition of the Special Committee on Racial Equity report. And we introduced in it a section that is covering the environmental justice areas in the community board, split literally like area by area. And there's a bunch of them, of course, and I don't know, I mean, you cannot see it, but sort of, I will just show it. The other way, this way, this other way. Anyway, just for people to have a little bit of an idea, it's essentially our eastern side of the district. If you imagine kind of the district like a squirrel, it's kind of the bottom of the squirrel and the tail, to put it that way. But each of these tiny subdivisions give the total population, the percentage of minority population, and the percentage below poverty. Some of the areas are absolutely, like, the numbers are incredible. I think that's something that people should just know in general, especially for us that are, from our environmental sort of standpoint for the environmental justice. Look, Vancouver Village is just an example. From the total population of 7,035 people, the percentage of minority is 84.1. Percentage below poverty rate, 12%. Actually, this is not so bad. But I want to read, for example, Marble Hill, total population 10,663, percentage minority 93%. Basically everybody, 93%. Percentage below poverty, 28%. That's 1 out of 3 people below poverty line. So anyway, these are numbers. I mean, again, it's interesting if you are particularly interested, like in a little area, to go through that and just kind of get yourself familiar with the numbers. These are all from like public sources, so it's not numbers I put together. Yeah, but they're all there in the report. So that's my own business I wanted to kind of contribute. Opening to current members to add all business.
Well, yeah, I mean, the oldest business is the reservoir doesn't have any water in it. It hasn't any water in it for like a year. And my understanding is that it's all related to the work that they're doing on the wall. All the work they're doing on the wall, but they haven't done, I've not seen any work. And so it'd be great to get an update because some of it we wouldn't be able to see because it was filling in the old code in Africa. but a lot of it was also supposed to be affecting the historical stones on the inside. And literally, there's not been any work on the inside, so we just would be great to kind of know where we stand.
was something on the west, on Google Avenue side.
On the Gulfport Avenue side along that wall, there was
Yeah.
supposed to be work, but I've never seen anybody doing it.
It looks like they did something, because it's like this funny, wood things.
Inside the reservoir.
I was driving, so it's just.
So they've been doing a lot of work on the exterior along they did the work along the fence.
Oh, the
they did
shortened fence, oh, yeah.
They did
right,
the,
right,
they did
right,
the
right.
additional, fence, but they did some work along they had a huge pile of gravel that was on the Sedgwick Avenue side and kind of wrapped a little bit. And there's been kind of work along that, but in terms of in the reservoir, there's just been weeds growing. Yeah, there's no water, and so it would be great to understand if they're on schedule, that kind of thing, so we can expect water in 2024.
Do you want to give, because I think it's probably Effie, but it's probably not her department necessarily. So I don't know, do you want to give it more time, or do you want to kind of put in a request for them to report back to us?
No,
I think I'll send an email, I'll send an email, I can get pictures.
Yeah, and we'll discuss it.
And call it
Another
back.
time.
Okay, excellent, very good, thank you. Anybody else? I see both hands is done.
Yeah, put that on a future agenda. It's a huge issue and it's gonna take its own meeting. Reservoir, the reservoir all by itself.
All by itself, yeah.
So-
I'm thinking maybe we can even feature it to make it like the November key item.
Yeah, that would be great, because I mean, we did a meeting 2 weeks ago where we had, or no, last weekend we had Manhattan College. They sent 3 students, they came from the Arches program, they picked up 6 large bags of trash. In 3 hours,
It's a mess.
along around the reservoir.
Okay, any other business, any other old business from anyone to follow up? We're good with all business. Jody, you want to follow up quickly with something? Old, with something?
Yeah, this is sort of old business. It was just a request I had made previously with Bob, so I just want to repeat it. It would be really great. You did mention it, but I just want to say it. It would be really great if you could put links to the things that have been discussed in the minutes. That's been really helpful, as well as including any slides or presentations. And then on top of that, I'm also thinking maybe if the Zoom link for the recordings could be added to the minutes as well, that would be super helpful. So,
Oh, this is so good. Yes, I will ask Pablo first thing tomorrow. Actually, this is a fantastic idea. Thank you so much. Thank you.
and thank you for holding it hybrid. I would be very sad if I was not able to attend on Zoom, because then I would not be able to attend. So
No.
I appreciate that you did this.
No, really, we are very nervous about it, but obviously it's kind of working. So we will try our best to keep it. The room, yeah, I will not say nothing. Yes, we will keep it like this because we do want to hear from the people, Jody. So thank you so much. And allow people like you. Yes.
And I just want to say it is a totally equal and equivalent experience. I don't feel like because I have a disability, I'm being singled out. Like, I just feel like I'm at the meeting, which is really nice.
Thank you.
I have to give a plug, if you don't mind, to Pablo and myself, who cleaned out that conference room, and remind everybody that a year ago, after Ida, that office where you're sitting was 4 feet of water. And we have spent thousands of dollars to, with an electrician, to wire that conference room, negotiated with the landlord to get new walls, new floor, all the repairs from that flood. And voila, we have a conference room that never looked like this. And that has been cleaned of all clutter and has room for us. And it just took a couple of grand, and it's an excellent thing. I'm very, very excited that this is the first time we're using the conference room. This is the first meeting.
Yes,
And it's come so well. I was texting the office that everything worked beautifully.
absolutely, Laura, absolutely. And then they made it amazing because like literally one click away, like literally one click away. So So just know that it is appreciated, and just, I think for all of us, it's very important. I feel like that we continue advocating with other committees too, to make this opportunity available to the extent possible, because I'm sure there will be meeting on sort of hot topics where people would like to be informed, and if we, have the committee members in the room here, but that the Zoom link working, I feel like it's
Right,
important.
well, here we have the sound system, the camera, the enormous TV. It's
Yes,
really set up like a TV studio.
Right, you're only limited by the size of the room. You can't,
Yes,
correct. That's,
you can't have 40
yeah,
people
but the
show up
committee
to
is
this room.
correct, yes, but committee members like we have here, so we appreciate it. And new business, I have two hands in the row for new business,
Karen, go first.
Karen was first. No, I see your hand, but let me finish with the committee members and we'll get back to you. Sorry.
Oh, so the new business is to talk a little bit about, Bob couldn't stay because he was getting a flare up. That Bob, myself, and Laura listened, had a conversation with one of the people who work for Tishman Inspire on, I think it was Wednesday.
mhm.
Monday, it was Monday. I think the meeting lasted about an hour. And we talked about, I first made a presentation of, I have this thing, which I'll send to the board so they can have it. I call it the baseball card. So it's a baseball card that explains the stormwater, the unified stormwater rule that the DEP just put together, effective in February of this year. And as you know, the Bronx Council for Environmental Quality, which I'm a member of, has offered to highlight and watch this project, the building, not the school. Well, the school is not also, because it'll be our first construction project that is going to be under this rule, which the DEP promised us that it was going to be monitored and effective, and it wasn't just go to the buildings department and fill out your form. It was going to actually, they were going to be like watching what everybody did. So they have a series of anything over 20,000 square feet. By the way, the school is 20,000 square feet, and the building is 3 times that. So well, 4 times that. 4 times, right? It's a fifth, right? It's a fifth. So the school is a half an acre. Anything over a half an acre, and a half an acre over what is qualified under this rule. And they have to make sure that the first thing is green infrastructure. There's no more big basins. You can't have any kind of detention basins. And that was the first thing they wanted to put in. I did tell them about the rock, because the DEP has constantly told us that we can't do green infrastructure because we hit rock too quickly. And so it's got to be the same for anybody who's trying to do infiltration. We did recommend green infrastructure, a green roof maybe, and lowering the number of units, but he needs to go and figure out the calculations. There's a very involved mathematical equation based on everything that they have concerning how much water they're going to collect. They didn't know that they were an entrance way to the Tibbetts Brook daylighting project, and they were very excited about that. I'm sure they're going to change where the front of the building is now that they know that. And he promised to he didn't make any promises about what he was going to. Oh, he did say how many trees. Laura was happy about the trees. I told them they had to be native because we want native, and I can't remember what else. I didn't really take notes.
25 trees, they said.
New trees?
Yeah, new trees, and I assume that's going to be around the outside. So he was well, I suggested that they be the enhanced treatments and not just a treatment, that it do more than that. And you could use that for your green infrastructure because you could extend the amount that,
Not just being a ribbon sidewalk with the.
Yeah, right.
Green all the way.
Right. I mean, I could see that on Van Cullen and South, that in my mind, that nobody's gonna really walk there because it's gonna be kind of dangerous unless there was a protection of the trees or some kind of a.
People should be able to walk there and it shouldn't be.
They should, but
It's a park, it's the entrance of the park.
Yeah, right. And so
Don't get in the fighting word.
I didn't say anything, I just told them what they had to do.
Yeah.
And then we pulled out like appendix D and E, which tells you exactly, what the measurement's supposed to be when you do your stormwater. And I think he was we have to speak to our architects and like.
Sorry, may I ask, what position was this person having? He was like.
He was the, like, I guess he's sort of like the community person. He was at the land use meeting. And his name is Payman.
So kind of the community liaison.
He was the district manager of Community Board 10. He did work in Manhattan. He did work for Scott Stringer as a planner prior to that, and he also worked at city planning.
Oh, so maybe it was the same person, Laura, right? The same person that made the presentation in land use?
No, but he's a representative of that company.
So he wasn't,
He's not the main speaker who made the
yeah,
presentation.
but he was it was the other guy, right?
And it was decided at that meeting that there'd be an environment, little subcommittee. And that was Bob Fanuzzi, Karen, and this representative.
Yeah,
And I was
I'm
on.
sorry,
it,
I
yeah.
didn't catch his name. What was his name?
I forget his name.
So this meeting was.
His name was Payman.
He emailed us, Karen, so the name would be on the email.
I
He
have his
emailed
name,
us
but I don't, I have
afterwards.
And the date of the meeting was when, Karen?
Monday.
This Monday?
We probably will not meet again until, you know,
Can you take me along next time you're meeting?
sure. Are you on the land use committee?
I'm not on the land use committee.
Well, then I don't know how that, I mean.
Wait.
are we- Okay.
No, what happened is Chuck appointed them because Karen wrote all that information on the water rule and sent it to Chuck. And then that's why Chuck appointed them to this little subcommittee.
So this is not in their quality as ENS members?
No.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
But the reason why I want to talk to you about new business is that this is the future for other new projects that are going to happen. And if, one of the things that he said is his project's gonna be under quality housing. It's not MHI or ZQA, it's quality housing. And he didn't think that he could go any higher. And I said,
Yes, that was sent back.
so I said, you know, if the city's not prepared to abide by the unified stormwater rules on their housing, then we have to change that. Because there's many different things that are important, but one of them is to get a hold of this water situation. And so you can't just say it's about affordable housing. It's gotta be something else, and they just gotta give in, you know?
Yeah, but the problem is that the previous mayor and this mayor have both are hell-bent on numbers of housing, units of housing, and they don't give a damn about setback, shadows, or the heights of building or zoning. They consider zoning to be a nuisance and a
But
hindrance
I'm not talking about
to
that.
affordable housing.
This is about flooding.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about flooding, and part of the flooding that nobody, even the DP, when I was on the cloudburst presentation, I think that was Tuesday night, and they talked about how they decided, you know, where these cloudbursts came and how they're gonna deal with them, and they have focus on certain areas. They never talked about looking at increased number of buildings, or, in my opinion, the lack of open space that we've
Yeah.
experienced over the years.
Building right to the curb.
Yeah.
And someone has to put that on the table.
They take three houses that had little yards with grass, and they take them, they buy them, and then they put up a tall building there, that's all.
Right.
I mean, I was in the land use meeting too, because I wanted to join land use, but we are still in some conversations around that. But that was my first sort of reaction to it. I mean, I understand that you want to put 370 whatever apartments on that footprint, but maybe you can play with the footprint, make it smaller, go more out to put a bunch of extra infrastructure.
He said he can't, I said we should discuss that.
Yeah. I'm so happy, Karen, that I said exactly the same thing, and I'm so happy you are conveying this message in much more technical terms than I do, but please proceed.
We can all learn, it's not just gonna be me.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, please share with us any information you feel may be useful for me to put in the minutes for other people to refer to the source and learn about these new rules.
Of course, if they go higher, there are people who weren't gonna look at a brick wall, who then on the other floor,
But
so
we
it
have-
will be,
and
I
the
know,
schedule
I was-
will be
I was-
also-
But in order to go higher,
There
if
it
they're
is.
qualitated, they have to go back to the street and then.
No,
they
no,
also
I
have to
understand,
do
I
the-
understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good,
I've had,
okay.
you know,
And we
friends
have-
go crazy
Yeah,
for building a
and we
building.
have buildings in our area that are high.
Absolutely.
So it's not like we're worried about the local.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, but the problem is with the zoning, because even the quality housing zoning, MIH and ZQA changed a lot of things, and it allows them to have a bigger footprint. That's what our problem is. There's no more, you could do 100% of the lot. There's no more need for side yards or backyards, and that's why we're losing so much soil.
And that violates the unified stormwater rule, because if you think about it this way, city of New York this is what my head was saying before the meeting. The city of New York is 72% impervious. If we wanna get rid of the water, we gotta change that number. The West Bronx is 66% impervious, so let's assume that we're someplace between 66 and 50. Okay, say we're 50. That building has to be less than that 50% of the site. They can't really, and he says, oh, we're gonna use porous pavement. I'm like, that's on your parking lot. That's where cars are gonna go. That's not, that's not green.
And they're not gonna vacuum it.
Okay,
When you use that porous asphalt, whatever it is, you have to get all the,
A porous
Just show that.
asphalt is a list of, in the hierarchy of things that you can use in green infrastructure.
Right, it's a mitigated.
And yes, and so you can do it, but you can't start out with just that and a bunch of trees on the outside.
okay. Karen, actually, I would love if you would be willing to, if you wouldn't mind putting together a little presentation. So we will give you like 5-10 minutes at the next meeting.
Okay.
To explain these rules, because honestly, I don't, how to say, you are the top expert and we would like to learn, I would like to learn from you. So if you wouldn't mind to have this, so that everybody in ENS understands this issue and the impact that we may have on the gigantic project.
Yeah.
But thank you so much to you and to Bob for presenting
And
us
Laura,
over there.
and Laura.
With Laura, with the Tishman people,
Yeah.
and let's keep learning about this. And,
I mean,
you know,
we said, saying to him, you're a Tishman, you could do that.
exactly,
You
yeah.
could do it,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
okay, good. So we are done with new business. I don't see, I see them with another new business, please.
Budget, just any updates on
Budget,
budget
excellent.
stuff.
Yes. So yeah, as you all know, Bob and all of you members of the committee last year worked very diligently and to create budget priorities. They are in the master sheet that David has. And we are keeping pushing them. I think he's not, Laura, please correct me, but I do believe that the final is not there yet, but I think it has to be soon. Is that correct?
It'll be resent. There were a couple of changes made last month at exec.
As I said.
The budget is going to be on the October exec. So it'll be sent out to everybody one
Yeah.
more time. And then voted on at the full board October meeting.
Yeah. The only thing I remember from exec that kind of affected the budget priorities as they were submitted last year was kind of a joining of one of the things with TNT, because they were too similar, so me and Kelly kind of agreed to put it together as a joint request
Yeah.
from us. That was the only difference.
Is there an agency response?
I know, because it wasn't sent yet. It wasn't sent yet.
Well, usually over the summer, you get the response from the agencies.
I don't know, Laura.
Kira has been in touch with sanitation and DEP to get information on updates on all your budget items. You can always give her a call, Chameleon. But,
Okay, I will
I
ask.
don't have it in my head right now, but
No, absolutely. I will ask her that if she has any feedback. I will ask Kira so that I can tell you at the
I
next
have
meeting.
one more comment.
One more comment from, yeah.
So the Grove, which is the piece of land that's across from the amalgamated at the top of the hill near Marshallou, is a DEP property. And we have the agreement from them to do a green infrastructure. I can also bring pictures of this the next time. And we are working on the Dickinson Avenue edge. And we're trying to get that build out, and I finally convinced the DP to take the money from the assemblyman and do the project themselves, because right now people are parking on the grass with trailers and everything. It's just a complete disgrace over there. And so they agreed, and now everybody's gonna look at it and come up with a design, and we'll probably have some kind of meeting, and we'll just do upstate on that.
Awesome, great, thank you so much.
And Daniel, because me and Daniel, we kind of invented this kind of thing on Dickinson.
Right.
I spoke to Daniel, it's to take the problem with the bike lane on Marshall Loop is that
Marshall Greenway.
the Greenway, at the end at Gun Hill Road, it's like this, and so it's almost dangerous. So we're trying to take people off that quicker and have them come onto Cedric and Dickinson to get into Van Cortlandt Park.
Because so DOT made changes 2 or 3 years ago to
Yeah.
Sedgwick Avenue, so there's this excess space along the road. That's kind of perfect if you want to get off the Greenway, go along the southern edge of the road, and then pop into Dickinson.
It's
And
a
so
design thing.
Yeah, and then because Karen called out that because cars are parking on the road, there would be good to kind of pardon the edge a little bit, and then you.
It's like a wood fence.
Make a wood fence or something, and then make a pathway for bikes, people on the Greenway to go right into the old
Got it. And
Old Crow
Yeah.
Trail.
so how do you know that they accepted? How to say, did they show you something, Karen?
No, I called them up and I said, listen, you see what's going on? You have to take care of this hedge. And they didn't call me back. I called him like 3 or 4 times. I got him on the phone again. I was like, so what are you gonna do? He says, all right, so I'll have the consultants make up a drawing, which I think I've seen a drawing, because I have it in my head. I know with the pencil clip and everything. I said, yeah, have them make the drawing. It's like, I think 700 feet. And then show it to us and we'll tell you if we like it.
Do you think that this is something, how to say, that should be presented? Like, should we ask Kira to reach out to your contact person and have them just for like 15 minutes to show this?
No, when it comes, I will.
Sorry, you
I will-
let us know to put it on the
Yeah,
agenda.
right,
Let me
right,
see.
right,
Great,
right.
excellent, okay.
And then we probably have to have a meeting at Amalgamated.
Or if they have the Zoom option and good internet, but frankly, maybe we can just, maybe we don't need to have the meeting at Amalgamated. Maybe we can have the speaker wherever they are.
I
and
have
just
to have a
present.
meeting at Amalgamated, so I will have a meeting at Amalgamated, and then we can do another meeting.
Okay, let's,
We just want to have the amalgamated people involved.
oh, involved, yeah, no, absolutely, but if they could connect on Zoom there and then we could give them space to speak.
No, they like to go to meetings.
Okay, to be continued as far as logistics, but point taken, okay. Well, thank you. There is no other open new business, and I see no hands. Then,
I make a motion.
Thank you so much, Rob.
I second.
I'm seconding. We want to approve. Thank you so very much, everyone. You made this possible, and thank you so much and to the staff. I send them a thank you note.
Good
Everyone.
night, everybody. Be well. Thank you. Thank you. Great meeting.
See you in a couple of minutes.
Right.